Hi, I'm Mimi Gonzalez, and you're watching Out at the Center.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Take your time. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it right. Come on, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Recently, the Center and the Coalition for Public Health and Commercial Sex Venues held a public forum to discuss prevention of infection for staff, HIV, and other sexually transmitted diseases. With the possibility that commercial sex venues might be shuttered, officials from the city, doctors, leaders of several organizations, and the public came together to discuss the issues at hand.
We have been doing a lot of work around the bathhouse issue. We've been working with the City Department of Health, and we've been working with other folks that are concerned about it to try and bring some order, some reason, and some evidence-based practices and a discussion of evidence-based practices to this discussion. It sounds like what you're saying is that the issue of MRSA among men who have sex with men is no more or less of an issue than MRSA is among anybody in many venues where people could pick it up.
Exactly right. You can get this in any venue. I don't care if it's in the bathhouse. I don't care if it's in my office. I don't care if it's in somebody's house. I don't care if it's mother to child. Anybody can get MRSA any place at any time.
Although anyone can get MRSA, and we were talking to people of both genders and all ages, we actually did find that 55% of our men we interviewed were men who have sex with men. We wanted to not only be able to stand up and say to you today that men who have sex with men are at greater risk of MRSA, but we wanted to find out why.
Gary alluded to the headlines, the various headlines about MRSA. The reason that I am here so that you can hear from the horse's mouth that there have been no plans at all in the Department of Health to close commercial sex venues.
So could DOHMH and you as the Assistant Commissioner for HIV prevention work with the mayor to get the mayor to implement the Dignity for All Students Act? Thank you.
Are you supporting condom distribution and comprehensive sexual health for adolescents and adults in correctional facilities?
We, because the Department of Health and HHC in combination, have developed the most advanced commercial sex venue-based testing program in the country, if not the world, where we are actually doing rapid HIV testing, pooled plasma PCR, the most advanced STD tests in the country, as well as testing for syphilis, all because of the hard work of the Department of Health to help us. I use that as an example to show that the biomedical model is to keep the bathhouses open and the commercial sex venues open, because really what we should be doing in this conversation is partnering.
Many people have said by closing the sex venues, you lose the opportunity, someone here just said, both of you I think just said it, to talk to people and meet them where they are.
This winter, the Center's popular benefit concert, Broadway Backwards 3, took place at the American Airlines Theater on the Great White Way. Andrea McArdle, Malcolm Getz, Charles Busch, Neil Patrick Harris, David Burtka, Anthony Rapp, Cheyenne Jackson, Tituss Burgess, Sandy Duncan, and many more turned it out for an evening of singing and dancing to some of Broadway's famous show tunes with a twist. Robert Berliner and Erin Kaburick spoke with the stars about the event.
Broadway, Broadway backwards, Broadway, Broadway backwards.
If you had to pick one male role that you could play, what role would you want to play?
Probably Sweeney and Sweeney Todd.
I've always been partial to Coalhouse in Ragtime.
I think that I'd want to play Billy Bigelow in Carousel.
You hear that, Broadway producers? Carousel revival, anybody? Sierra Boggess. Sierra Boggess, very understandably, fell madly in love with her and wanted desperately to kiss the girl. And what a number that was, a rousing end to Act One. And whew.
But I better do it soon. No time will be better. She doesn't say a word, and she won't say a word
Why this event? Why tonight? Why are you guys here?
It's a great cause. It's an awesome, great cause, and
I think the center is kind of, it's bigger than what people think it is. I think people just think it's just some place that gay people go. I think a lot of people in America will probably think that, and I think it's so much bigger than that. It's just, it helps people get off drugs, it helps people get off the street, helps people who don't even know who they are, and I think that's a great cause. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of specific issues, and look at how many people came together to support that and didn't want to get paid for it, and I think that shows what kind of people, what kind of hearts they have and how much love they have to give these people. So that's why we're here.
Great idea, great cause. It was a lot of fun.
All I care about is
I'm definitely a friend of the center's. I've helped them with other events before, Breaking the Cycle, which is a bike ride to raise money for the center. I'd come out before and emceed the closing day of the ride. I've sung for them before at private parties for the center. I partake of the center. I use it as a member of the community. It's an incredible location.
There's my love up above. I whisper, go away, my lover. It's not fair, but I'm so grateful to discover he's still there.
What female role would you play if you could play any female role? Straight or musical theater?
Wow. Maybe Auntie Mame?
Well, I've done Auntie, it used to be Mame, but I've done Auntie Mame, so I'm kind of maimed out. I think I'd like to play Dolly Levi.
I would love to do something really dramatic like Lady Macbeth or Medea or something. I feel like women's parts are written so much richer than men. It's just, I think women get to do a lot more depth and emotion than men's roles. So
he's like a theater actor. He's not like a musical guy. So all his answers are plays and Shakespeare and stuff.
Yeah, we saw you in Gypsy on Broadway.
Yeah, he's good.
But then, I did more than that though. I mean, Edward Albee and stuff. So
I say Mrs. Lovett. Nice. Just for that haircut.
Norma Desmond. Could you give us a little bit of I Don't Know Why I'm Frightened?
You gotta be kidding.
Please. I'm not kidding.
I don't know why I'm frightened. I know my way around here. The cardboard trees, the painted seas, the sound here.
Sally Bowles.
Sally Durant.
Ooh. How about that? Do we have another Sally?
Sally Ride.
Sally Wong.
Next up, entertainment writer and blogger Clay Kane sits down and chats with Derrick Briggs about his popular book club for men of all ethnicities, the black gay community, and some recent accomplishments.
My name is Clay Kane, entertainment journalist for Vibe.com and AOL Black Voices. I'm here with Out at the Center because we are focusing on black LGBT people in the community who are making an impact. And today, for our first segment, we have entrepreneur, Mr. Derrick L. Briggs.
Hey.
How you doing, Derrick?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, Mr. Briggs, doing a book club is something that one wouldn't think would be the first thing you'd run to when it comes to an event in the black LGBT community. What inspired you to do a book club for this community?
The inspiration came from having friends in the community that wanted to do something more than just go to a club. Mm-hmm. And so, and I was in that phase in my life at that time when I started out, it was 2003 in August. I was like, I want to read more books.
Right.
And it was a lot of upcoming authors and writers, just coming out the woodworks. And I was like, let's read these books and support them. And so I had an idea. I was at a friend's house and I said, I should start a book club. I called a couple of friends and I remember it was a brunch. It was 5 dudes and we was in Brooklyn at Buttercup Lounge, which is now closed. Mm-hmm. And we was outside and we was like, let's just, I just like presented it to them. And I had no e-blast, no email list. And I just said, you know, let's start a book club. And I had 2 books. And from there, I just kept on going. And, you know, the list, and it was like word of mouth. And it just started growing. There's people till to this day that don't know about the book club or haven't never really heard of me. But they're like, oh, I'm getting your emails now. And then, you know, I'm going to come to your discussion. And so now the book club have, you know, it's evolved into more than a book club and more into like an experience for people to come and just talk. And so like we'll feature a book, but then it will always turn into some type of discussion about a topic if it's gay related, definitely, you know. And it just, I was like, oh, okay, you know, people want to talk. And so I created this atmosphere, and, you know, a couple of people from, you know, the community will open up their homes, and you can get people there talking, and it just started growing. And now I actually have to have my discussions like in a space, like I have to rent out studios and whatnot now because it's growing.
Living in New York City is a very insular area. Do you still experience homophobia? Or do you experience more racism? Or do you experience any of it?
You know, racism, like, and I had this conversation with someone because it's like you're black, you're gay, and you're a male. That's like 3 strikes against you. I haven't
Paris
really,
is burning quote. Don't think I missed
I
the
know,
Paris is burning quote.
Exactly. The racism, it don't really bother me. I think I haven't really experienced racism as much. It's an ignorance, it's a lack of education, it's a lack of not knowing, you know. And you know, my white counterparts, they might be a little more open to certain things. You have black people open to things too, but there's just such a larger number of people that's not accepting. It's a lot of issues that I think we need to kind of just learn about and let go.
Homophobia in the white community, homophobia in the black community. What's the difference, if there is a difference?
Oh, there's a huge difference. I think it's interesting to have the homophobia in the white community. I think it seems like it's more accepting. You know, you have like Ellen hosting the Oscars, you know, she's a white lesbian. Right. But if you have like, if, you know, Oprah came out and said she was a lesbian, I think we'd be like stunned and clench our pearls, like, oh my God, you know, I can't believe it. I think it's, I don't know, I'm not saying white people are more open, but I just think that maybe they don't put that much energy onto something that is like, okay, you know, gay people exist. Let's move forward.
So speaking of reaching out and having something for us, you're also in an independent film called Finding Me, which is directed through Roger Omias. So tell me about what that story is about and the role that you play in the film.
I play a love interest. I play one of the lead characters. Everyone in the film is like a lead. It's a wonderful script. It's a love story with a twist. I'm playing the main characters, or the focus of the film, who's played by Ray Martell Moore. The character's name is Fabian, and so playing his love interest and just he's finding himself. It's fun. I mean, it was one of the greatest experiences I've had, you know, thus far, you know.
Now, just so people don't think I pulled you off the street, you were also featured in Instinct magazine. I think, was it December of 06?
It was November 2006.
Late 06. So Instinct magazine is the number one magazine for gay men in America.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
I sent them an email years ago, and I was like, oh, you know, I'm interested in your magazine. I love it, and, you know, and I have a book club. You know, I'm just PRing myself, just plugging myself. And they called me a couple of months later and said, hey, we're having, you know, we're doing this whole top 25 men of 2006, and we choose you. And it was a great experience, and I thought that was like, wow, it was a huge acknowledgement, you know, just like stepping stone, you know, an accomplishment for myself.
And you know, what it's about people in the community coming together and doing projects together and working together. So I really want to thank the LGBT Center for reaching out and doing this segment on people in the community and the Black LGBT community who are making a change. And I appreciate that. So if you want to reach me, you can reach me at claykane.net. And how can we reach Derrick L. Briggs?
It's info@derricklbriggs.com.
Okay, great. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month.
The Campbell Soady Gallery and Males on Naturel presented New York Goes Nude, a clothing-optional exhibition showcasing the work of Canadian photographer Camilo. Guests were invited to participate in this artistic event as Camilo photographed the interactions between models and the clad and unclad guests.
Basically aesthetical. I want to show that sexual organs can be as beautiful as flowers, as they are, and that sexuality is as divine the sexual act can be as divine or considered a religious act. So if we all go nude in parks, in cities, if we start to decriminalize nudity in cities like New York, as we know Barcelona is already a city that has decriminalized nudity, perhaps we can move on into a different stage of consciousness, of humanity, in which it's more important of what I am and not of what I have.
We knew that there was an exhibit going on today, and as part of that, we thought we'd help the sponsorship and show up, because a lot of it is beautiful and it talks about nudity, the beauty of the human body. So we figured we'd participate in that.
Nudity doesn't mean to be sexually involved. Nudity means just to be as I am here tonight, and just be in a more relaxed way, not having a dress. Then you can tell what my power trips can be. If I wear a Ralph Lauren here of Lacoste, I mean, we all become more of one of a kind.
I think it's amazing. I'm having an awesome time. There's a lot of naked people, and it's very comfortable, and people shouldn't be afraid of nudity.
I love to be naked in public.
What's your motivation?
Just some of my friends are here. I was invited by my friends, and my friend Paulie. My boyfriend is here with me, and I like art. and I like to be naked.
I think at the event tonight, since it's all about nudity, the rebellious thing is kind of to be clothed. And that's really because I am actually a member of Males on Naturel. But I chose to be clothed tonight because everyone else is being nude. And that's why I chose the outfit I'm wearing, is because it is a starker contrast to the nudity, because it is such high style.
There are groups like ours really all across the country. Yeah. There's a Gay Naturist International that goes a summer camp basically. There's a lot of us that go to Burning Man every year. Mm-hmm. So we're out and about in the world, but we just need space to be together. That's all.
I've been a nudist for probably since 1982. am very involved in Males on Naturel, New York City's only gay male nudist group, and have been on the steering committee of it since 1989. Just left one of their parties a little while ago to come here, to get dressed to come here to take it off again.
I came because I found it in the community calendar, and I was intrigued at the thought of being naked because of all of my ink. You know, I thought, well, I'm sure if I go, I'll get some attention, so here I am. I did want to see the artwork, but like many openings, people come and you tend to just party and not really look at the art, so I'll have to come back and look at the real artwork.
So you haven't had a chance to look at the artwork yet?
But there was a part of me that really, I've never been to a nudist thing, I've never been naked in public, so I sort of thought it might be a fun thing to explore.
How do you feel?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm a little nervous though, but I feel okay.
I think nowadays nudity has to become a natural happening so we can move on into a more compassionate world.
Lesbian Cinema Arts board member and filmmaker Kate Fitzgerald sat down with Erin Greenwell, director, producer, and writer of Big Dreams and Little Hope, to discuss her movie, recently released on DVD, and filmmaking in New York.
So what inspired you to make the movie?
It came during a time where I felt kind of lost. Like in your early 20s, you're so ambitious, and then when you start reaching your 30s, I think a lot of people have these kind of like spiritual crisis, you know, as far as who they are and how they want it to be in the world.
We're professionals. No offense, Kelly, but we're professional what?
But I wanted to present something that was kind of unifying towards everyone. That was like everything is sacred, nothing is sacred. We're all on this planet together. If only people could connect in their fears as well as their bravery. And to me, having two oppositional characters just kind of bumble around and find themselves was important to me.
So what kind of questions are you going to be asking?
Just some questions about your home.
Striking. Sorry, thanks.
You wrote, produced, and directed the film. So why did you decide to take on all of that responsibility?
The producing and the directing really just came out of me wanting to see my scripts made.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Would you like a bigger trunk for your car?
I don't know. Is my car bigger? Someone likes boots.
These are my bronze boots.
The more, though, I started producing and directing, the more I actually realized I liked that, too, because of what we were talking about, which is the community aspect of a film. To me, a lot of times, the end product of the process is more important than what the movie originally is. But as a consequence, I think that's why I work with a lot of the same people, because I work with like-minded people who really enjoy making movies just to make movies.
You're such a fraud. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're looking at the top of a bunk or at the stars from your yacht. Everyone looks at their own ceiling and thinks about their day and who they are and if they can stand themselves.
Me and Julie have been friends for about 10 years, and we produced a lot of comedy shorts together. And I was a huge fan of her, like immediately. For her audition, she did stand-up, and I was supposed to read opposite of her, and I was like cracking up the whole time.
Sir, please don't sit on the chair like that.
You are covering up those titties. Do you understand?
There must have been a few anecdotes that you could share, maybe one or two anecdotes about life on the set with those two.
They got obsessed with looking at this website during downtime that was called Camel Toe, which was just a bunch of websites of people wearing really tight pants and having like crotch areas that revealed like camel toes. So Camel Toe became like a big like running through line gag throughout the whole movie. So then it's Emily's big like dramatic scene where she like breaks down and cries, and I like struck the set and I was like, this is a really serious thing.
I'm such a loser.
And Emily, are you okay? And it was like, in the first take, there's this monologue where she says like, what did you spend all that money on? She's like, camel hair overcoats and BlackBerry pagers and headshots. And instead she goes, camel toe overcoats. And then everyone was like, oh, it's a camel toe.
You're an American. You can do whatever you want to do.
Everybody's sleeping right now. Curfew's at 11 p.m.
And then I think the other one was, it was day 2 of shooting, and we were shooting in a railroad apartment in Harlem. And it was the scene with the husband who's the husband of the mistress. And he showed up to the shoot and he's like, Erin, I have to warn you, this is what I do. And he was like sweating, and I'm like, it'll be fine. And it was like a Harlem apartment with no air conditioning. And after 2 takes, his shirt would just be drenched. And so we kept having to like cut and take a hairdryer and clean off his shirt because it was like so hot. And then I think that was the day that we had the dog in the scene too. And it was Maggie Burkle's dog, who's also, I think, a part of Lesbian Poporama. I think she was.
Yeah.
And she's like, Erin, if we can kind of hurry up because the dog's getting really sick, and the dog's like, like sweating. And so I just went home that night feeling like I'm the scum of the earth. Like, people are really mad. And I called Julie, and I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, Julie was always the first person I called. Like, I'd apologize for Julie kind of thing. And she's like, it's okay, just cool it down.
And that's all for this month's edition of Out at the Center. As the credits roll, we will enjoy highlights from the 3rd annual Leather and Fetish Fashion Show held at the Center this past month, featuring the work of local designers. Until next time, I'm Mimi Gonzalez. Actually, for all time, I'm Mimi Gonzalez. See you then.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to GMSMA's Fashion Fetish Show. I'm going to be your host for the evening. My name is Doc Hoskins. I know you all come here to see some fashion, so let's get this show on the road. I'm your host for the evening, Doc Hoskins. I want to thank you all for coming out and making me feel warm and welcome. Have a good evening.